In Atomic Habits, James Clear explains that your life doesn't change because of one huge decision. It changes because of the tiny things you repeat every day. He calls these tiny improvements atomic because they look small, but they carry massive power when they stack up over time. The book starts with a simple truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Goals are about results, but systems are about the daily process, and the process is what actually creates success. Instead of obsessing over, I want to lose weight or I want to be successful, the book tells you to focus on becoming the kind of person who does those things. So the real question becomes, what would a healthy person do today? Or what would a disciplined person do today? Clear explains how habits are formed in a loop of 4 steps: cue, craving, response, reward. A cue triggers your brain. A craving creates desire. The response is the action you take, and the reward teaches your brain whether that action is worth repeating. Once you understand this loop, you can design your habits instead of depending on motivation. That's why the book gives a practical system called the 4 laws of behavior change. The first law is make it obvious, because habits start with what you notice. If you want a good habit, you must make the trigger visible, and if you want to break a bad habit, hide the trigger from your environment. One powerful tool is habit stacking, where you attach a new habit to an existing one. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will read 1 page, because your current routine becomes the reminder for the new behavior. Another tool is designing your environment so the right action becomes the easiest action. If healthy food is on the table and junk food is out of sight, your choices improve without needing strong willpower. The second law is make it attractive, because you repeat what feels good. If a habit looks boring or painful, you won't stick to it, so you must connect it to something enjoyable or meaningful. Clear talks about temptation bundling, which means pairing something you need to do with something you want to do, like I only watch my favorite show while I'm on the treadmill, turning effort into something you look forward to. He also highlights how your social circle shapes your behavior. If you join a group where the habit is normal, fitness people, readers, creators, you naturally start acting like them because humans copy what the tribe celebrates. The third law is make it easy, because repetition matters more than intensity. You don't need the perfect plan, you need a plan you can actually repeat, and the easier the habit is, the more likely it becomes automatic. The book introduces the idea of the 2-minute rule. Start any habit in a version that takes 2 minutes or less. Instead of read every night, you start with read 1 page, because showing up is the real win at the beginning. Clear explains that habits are like votes for your identity. Every small action is a vote for the person you want to become, and even if you miss sometimes, what matters is building a pattern over time. He also warns about relying on motivation, because motivation comes and goes. The real secret is reducing friction for good habits and increasing friction for bad habits, so your default choices become better. The fourth law is make it satisfying, because your brain learns from rewards. If you don't feel a reward, the habit won't stick, so you must create a sense of progress and satisfaction. A simple strategy is tracking your habits, like marking an X on a calendar. Seeing your streak makes you want to continue, because you start protecting the identity of I'm someone who doesn't break the chain. But the book also teaches a key rule: never miss twice. Missing once is normal, but missing twice is the start of a new habit, so your goal is to return immediately, not to be perfect. Clear goes deeper by explaining why habits often fail even when you try hard. Sometimes the habit isn't aligned with your identity. Sometimes it's too big too fast, and sometimes your environment is pushing you in the wrong direction. He describes 3 levels of behavior change: outcomes, processes, and identity. Most people focus on outcomes, some focus on processes, but the strongest change happens when you focus on identity, who you believe you are. The book also talks about the hidden danger of success. Once something works, people stop paying attention. That's why he introduces reflection and review, which means regularly checking your habits so you don't get lazy, stuck, or overconfident. Another big lesson is about mastery and improvement. Professionals stick to the basics longer than amateurs, and the secret is to keep showing up even when it feels boring. Clear explains the idea of the plateau of latent potential. Progress is often invisible in the beginning, like ice melting under the surface. This is why people quit too early. They don't see immediate rewards. Atomic Habits teaches you to trust the process because the results are delayed, but they are coming if you stay consistent. By the end, the message becomes clear. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You need to change your direction with tiny daily actions that compound into something unstoppable. Your habits shape your identity shapes your actions, and your actions shape your future. So if you want a better life, don't chase a huge transformation, build better systems, and let the small habits do the heavy work.